Let's look at the timing. It is absolutely staggering how fast the machine moves when you give it a reason to panic. We have here a source packet that is drowning in noise, endless, repetitive endorsements for Tennessee, threats about leakers, and grandiose claims about Venezuela and Iran. But buried in that wall of text is a single thread that should make every progressive who cares about the structure of this democracy choke on their coffee. He posts, Abdurrahman Mohamed El Said wants to terminate the filibuster, and so do I. Then he doubles down, saying, at least we have something in common. And then, within hours, he is screaming that if this candidate succeeds, the Democrats will gain 4 senators, 8 congressmen, a stacked Supreme Court with 23 justices, and I will be, sadly, the last Republican president. Look at the absurdity of that number, a big number justices. He is not arguing policy. He is inventing a nightmare scenario where the entire constitutional order collapses because one man wants to change a parliamentary procedure. He is toting this termination as an existential threat to his own power, painting himself as the sole barrier between order and total democratic takeover by 4 senators and 8 congressmen. It is a masterclass in fear-mongering designed to make you feel that the very ground beneath your feet is dissolving. And then, just to cap it off, he links out to a headline about Trump allies push arm President new tariff weapon, trying to pivot back to his favorite toy tariffs. He wants to give himself a new weapon to punish countries ripping off America, while simultaneously claiming that the only thing standing in the way of a communist takeover is his own existence. Now, let's look at the tape, because numbers don't care how loud you type them. Quiet days are exactly when you should get suspicious, but today, the tape isn't quiet, it's screaming. DJT plunged down 3, 19 per 74th percentile. It dropped at the open down 2. 2% res prior close a 93rd percentile of its overnight gaps. Let that sink in. The market is reacting to the sheer instability of a man who claims he can single-handedly hold back a tide of some figure judges while simultaneously trying to arm himself with new tariffs and claim he just decimated Iran in less than 1 day. The tape does not lie. It shows a down 3, 19% plunge, a drop that is statistically severe, sitting at the 74th percentile of moves. This is not a consolidation. This is a sell-off driven by the realization that his rhetoric is becoming unhinged. And what about the rest of the market? The broader indices are also feeling the chill. QQQ fell down 0, 45%, 80th percentile, falling at the open, down 0. 79% VRES prior close, 94th percentile of its overnight gaps. The tech-heavy NASDAQ is sliding, reflecting a risk-off sentiment that matches the political chaos. IDOM fell down 0, 33%, 60th percentile, edging down at the open, down 0. 14% VRES prior close, a 38th percentile of its overnight gap. Even the small caps, usually more resilient to headline noise, are dipping. TSN rose up 0, 76% at 89th percentile, and Ethereum rose up 0, 67% at 78th percentile, showing that capital is fleeing traditional political exposure for other assets. But DJT is bleeding out, down 3, 19%. It's not a correction, it's a rejection. He spends the rest of his time posting boilerplate endorsements for Tennessee Republicans: Brent Taylor, David Kustoff, Matt Van Epps, Andy Ogles, Scott Desjarlais, Chuck Fleischman, Tim Burchett, Deanna Harshbarger, and Bill Haggerty. All of them endorsed today. All of them told to Agiti Oat A&D vote. He is trying to manufacture momentum where there is none. He claims Pete Hegseth is doing an extraordinary job and that the attack on Venezuela was accomplished in less than 1 day. He calls the Washington compost treasonous. But you don't need to take his word for it. You just need to look at the chart. The tape shows a down 3, 19% plunge. The market knows that when you start claiming your opponent will install, who knows how much judges. You aren't fighting a political battle, you're fighting a delusion. And the delusion is expensive. That's the show. We're on Spotify and YouTube. If this earned it, like, subscribe, tell a friend. And housekeeping, the machine that writes this gets tuned constantly for cleaner news. The numbers are real, the jokes are not. One more thing, this whole station runs on one garage computer, and if the tape ever earned you a coffee, there's a tip jar at informant.reiners.io. It keeps the phone line on.